What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh exclusive. Today I want to talk to you about a absolutely beautiful fragrance. And it's a fragrance that I have to admit, when I first smelled it, I liked it. But I did not give it nearly as much attention as it deserved. Just to get right to it, the fragrance we're talking about today is Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver. I got a little sample here. I've been through just about all of it. It is from Sephora, but the SA, who I was hanging out with there, was really nice and maybe borderline flirtatious too. That's another story for another time. And she was very generous with the samples that she gave me. One of them being this one, and she filled it up basically. Like it was like a solid 3 mils or something like that. Anyway, again, I've just about used it all up here. This fragrance, I picked up this sample back in the summertime, and as you might already know, the summertime is probably the best time to wear it. It's a good summer and spring fragrance. This fragrance can be compared to other fragrances in this genre, such as Thierry Mugler's Mugler Cologne. We also have Creed's Original Vetiver. You know, these clean, fresh, soapy like scents. These fresh out of the shower scents. And the main player in all of these fragrances is the note of vetiver, which when done right gives off this very clean and masculine feeling. If done in other ways, it can be a little bit earthy, maybe a little bit dirty, and maybe even a little bit too mature for some people. It kind of gives off this older gentleman vibe that the young people might not be akin to, but it's done right with this fragrance. So again, ironically enough, I didn't start giving this thing some love until within the last few weeks when it started to cool down. As we kind of got into the heart of the fall, that's when I pulled this thing out again. I'm like, what is this like? And I realized I'd never even worn it yet. I just liked the smell. I had a sample of it. So I started wearing it and I started getting compliments, and I started to love the way it smelled around me as I went throughout the day. And speaking of, this thing lasts. Unlike most scents of this genre, you wouldn't think a fresh, clean scent like this would last throughout the day. This is an eau de parfum concentration. The House of Tom Ford released this fragrance, I think back in 2009, as an eau de parfum. It wasn't until 5 years later, in 2014, that they released the eau de toilette, which is a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter of a fragrance, but it's basically the same thing. This thing is rich and fresh, if you can imagine it. Rich, fresh, clean, very masculine. I tried the eau de toilette. It's a beautiful fragrance, but it only lasts about 5 to 6 hours on my skin. So the eau de parfum, this thing lasts like double that, like 10 hours. And we're talking about projection of at least like 4 or 5 hours. Like I can smell it. I don't know if you saw my top 10 fall fragrance video, but somewhere in the meat of that video, I discuss what I do to see if my fragrance is still projecting if I've only sprayed it on my neck and not on my limbs. And that is just this simple weave and bob. Weave and bob. Weave and bob a little bit.
Weave and bob a little bit.
You get the idea. And by doing that, if I can smell it in the air around me as I move, even just a little bit, the less I move and the more I can smell it, the better it's projecting. If I have to move a little bit more in order to sense it around me, then it might be a little bit closer to the skin at that point. But this thing, I don't even have to move a lot of the time. I'm just walking and I can smell it. I walk this way, I can smell it. I bend down, I can smell it. It's everywhere. And a lot of people around me have expressed how beautiful it is and how much they enjoy it. The notes in Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver Eau de Parfum, we have orange blossom up top coupled with some grapefruit. I don't get a whole lot of the orange blossom. There's this orangey tanginess to it, but I think that's really coming from the grapefruit, this zestiness that you get. It's that citrus from the grapefruit. And also we get some sage in there. So those are kind of the main players in the top. But in the top, I would say grapefruit is what you get most of all. Towards the heart of the fragrance, we get some orris root. We get some pimento, which is a pepper, basically just a breed of pepper. And we also get some nutmeg. Now, to be honest, I don't pick up any of the heart at all. Maybe if I'm not mistaken, nutmeg gives off a little bit of a spiciness, and I get a little bit of that. If that's the case, correct me if I'm wrong. Please, down in the comments, tell me, Justin, you're an idiot. Nutmeg is not a spice, but I'm pretty sure it's a spice. And if that's the case, then I get some spiciness in the heart, but it doesn't scream as the note of nutmeg. It more just feels like some kind of spicy nuance to the fragrance. At the base of this, we get some amber, which gives a little bit of sweetness, just a touch of sweetness to it. There's some oak moss, which is a fragrance note that has been under fire for the past couple years. We get some woodiness to it, and we get some vetiver. Now, what I get the most out of the base is obviously the vetiver, which you get from the beginning of the fragrance, pretty much. Maybe after the first couple minutes, it's more zesty, and then vetiver comes in. And then I get the woodiness too. So the main players in this fragrance, grapefruit up top, and then the vetiver and the woodiness. And I'm pretty sure the top accord of this fragrance is woody anyway. And that can also come from the vetiver as well, but it's that vetiver woody combination that we mostly get with a little bit of that zesty opening. So that's the scent of this thing. Now, I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about this fragrance online. I'm not really sure why. It's a wonderful fragrance, and there's a reason why they came out with an EDT version, because the EDP was doing so well, and they figured we can make a little bit of money off of throwing out a lighter version of it. So that's a pretty clear indicator that this thing is popular, but in the community, we don't hear about it much. We mostly hear about the Thierry Mugler's Mugler Cologne, and then probably below that, we hear a little bit more about Creed's original vetiver. I can see why Mugler Cologne is talked about more, simply because it is a lot cheaper than Tom Ford, as expected. Most of Thierry Mugler's fragrances will be cheaper than Tom Ford's, even the designer Tom Ford's, which is what this is. This comes from the designer realm. But this thing it's in a good price bracket. You could probably find 50 mils of this on a standard retail website, even being eBay, for less than $60. Not bad, really not bad, especially for this quality. And again, this stuff lasts, so you're not gonna need a whole lot of it. Even out of this little sample, I was doing maybe 2 to 3 sprays. And these things actually spray quite a bit. Sephora kind of upgraded the little atomizers here. But it sprays quite a bit of juice. And I was doing 2 to 3, and it would last me, again, like 10 hours, like all day. And although this is primarily a spring and summer fragrance, it shines in the warmer weather. I'd say you can still kind of pull this off in the fall. And if you really wanted to, you could pull it off in the winter too. It will still project. I really believe that. It's not going to be warm and cozy like most people might want during the winter in a fragrance. But for instance, if you work indoors all year round, you can wear this all year round. This is a great work fragrance, just like the others of its genre. This will work in any occasion. You can even dress this up if you want. You can just have this real nice, clean, gentleman-like vibe with this fragrance. It's casual, it can be formal, it really can. I think that's something it definitely has over Thierry Mugler's Mugler Cologne. I think that one still is a little bit more on the casual side, even though no one's gonna stop you from putting it on when you're wearing a tuxedo. But I think this is gonna do a whole lot better. It just exudes this quality that we would expect from the house of Tom Ford. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts on this fragrance that is not talked about nearly enough. And I wanted to get it on your radar if you'd never heard about it. If you smelled this fragrance or you own this fragrance, please let me know in the comments what you think about it. Let me know if you prefer the EDT versus the EDP and why. Also, wanted to introduce a little poll, a little viewer's choice for my next review of fragrances. I've been getting a lot of requests for 2 fragrances in particular. One of them being Valentino Uomo Intense, which I'm really looking forward to smelling. I don't have it yet, I've never smelled it. So I look forward to getting my hands on that. Or Herod by Parfums de Marly. I did a first impression video on that. If you haven't seen it, that's kind of what it looks like. Link will be in the description. A lot of you have asked me to do a full review on that fragrance, expressing my thoughts and my experience. So let me know which one of those you want to see down below. I'll tally up the votes and that will be our next review. By the way, Parrot is actually my scent of the day today. I'm not going to tell you what I think of it right now. We'll save that if you want to see a review of it. Sorry for the tease. Thank you guys so much again for checking out this video. Trying to help you stay fresh. Tom Ford's Great Vetiver will help you do that. Please check it out. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, peace. I'll see you guys in the next one.